We're good.
Say hi to the people, Rudy.
Hello. Oops. Canton, New York, and Rudy, we are really glad to have you with us today. Are you ready to share your story with us?
Yes, we
All
are.
right, then please proceed.
Good afternoon. We really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to come and tell the Canton story to you. And I guess even more, we appreciate the opportunity to tell the story on a national stage. But before we get started, let me introduce the cast of characters I have with me here. Starting with the president of the student government at Canton High School, who is also an Eagle Scout and who's also the newest member of the town planning board of appeals, zoning board of appeals. Back behind him is the director of community relations for St. Lawrence University, and next to Ben is Linda, the director of economic development for the town of Canton. Up front is the supervisor of the town of Canton, and that is a sort of like a mayor or the duke or a prince or something. And over here is the immediate past president of the student body at SUNY Canton. And I should explain SUNY Canton. SUNY is short for the State University of New York at Canton, just in case you don't know. And Nafisa, by the way, is a Brooklyn native who now works and lives in Canton, and we're glad to have you. Behind Nafisa is a Marine, a veteran, and a college student at SUNY Canton. Sitting down front, trying to keep things in control over there, is a retired Army colonel. And, oh yeah, you've already met Rudy. You're not going to believe this, but inside that fuzzy face is a retired Army sergeant. And you'll get to see him in a minute. The group in the back are SUNY Canton alumni who live in the Denver area. It seems that a few kangaroos escaped and migrated west. To get us started, Jonathan?
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Years ago, Canton recognized that future would be shaped more by what we know rather than by what we do. We began to focus on education as an industry with great growth potential. In addition to great public school program and our SUNY Canton, our town is also home to St. Lawrence University, a great private liberal arts institution. Most of you probably think that only Australia has kangaroos, but SUNY Canton is home to 4,000 Canton kangaroos. That makes us pretty special. We also have been a community that supports our veterans, but more about that later.
The growth in education has brought many benefits to Canton. Over the last 10 years, we've seen a growth of about 9% in our population, while SUNY Canton's enrollment has gone from 2,000 two-year students to 4,000 four-year students. Our schools can be found in U.S. News and World Report's Best Buys in Education, including our public school system, which is ranked in the top 2% nationally. This group of great schools brings many people to Canton to shop in our local stores, buy homes, and pay taxes. St. Lawrence University hosts annually a convening of community stakeholders known as the North Country Symposium, at which we solve the problems that we face as a community, first by understanding the challenges, and then by creating solutions that involve community buy-in. At this year's symposium, we focused on the threats to those essential educational institutions.
New York was hard hit by the recession that began in 2007. Faced with declining property and sales tax revenues, the state implemented program cuts to our local schools, and they imposed a schedule of forced consolidation for our state colleges. With the number of vets returning to northern New York, home of the 10th Mountain Division, the last area we should cut is education.
Right before the start of the 2011-2012 school year, the chancellor of the SUNY system decided that she would consolidate a number of schools throughout the state. Now, in some cases, that made a lot of sense, especially for those schools that were underendowed or had just really lost their focus. That was not the case with SUNY Canton. SUNY Canton has always provided degrees that are beneficial for our veterans who want to get a quick start on their education: engineering, nursing, physical therapy, business, criminal justice. And SUNY Canton has doubled its enrollment by about twice over the past 5 years. Of greatest interest is that it has really increased its endowment, thanks in large measure to the work that President Kennedy did while at that school. Had SUNY Canton been consolidated with another school, it would have come under an institution that was very unendowed, and a school that whose focus was more in the fine arts areas than in some of the practical educational areas that SUNY Canton has cut its teeth on.
Well, Dave, while the other schools impacted by this decision passively accepted their fate, the people of Canton joined together with students and alumni to fight this decision. When a kangaroo is backed into a corner, it comes out fighting, never with the thought of giving up. In the battle of saving our SUNY Canton, many things were done with the help of the community. Every school district, municipality, and county legislature passed resolutions in support of keeping SUNY Canton autonomous. We engaged our state legislatures and the Senate Committee on Higher Education. Busloads of high school students and college students went down to New York City for a trustees meeting. For us, that's a 7-hour trip one way, and especially when it's during finals. We confronted the chancellor face to face to discuss these issues. We joined forces with the town and launched both a website and a Facebook page where help can be enlisted. And in the end, the chancellor realized, when you mess with Canton's education system, you mess with us. It's okay, Rudy, it's okay. It's all right. He gets a little crazy.
Rudy's really a pussycat, don't worry about him. Well, wait till you see him, you might not agree then. So who wins when the educational system is protected? Well, honestly, we all do. Certainly the individual student who is using one of our colleges to climb the ladder toward economic success, they benefit. And many of these young people are first-generation college students, exactly like I was when I went off to college. The community also benefits because, as was alluded to by Jonathan, education is the engine that runs our economy. And also future generations do. It gives students the opportunity to stay home and pursue the American dream. And it allows our community to keep the bright people rather than exporting them to some other place, like Denver. And it's also a very good thing for our veterans. But don't believe me, let's let the veterans talk for themselves.
Thank you, Joe. Canton has a 200-year history of showing appreciation for our veterans in the form of parades, MIA, POW days, Memorial Days, and welcome home events. I'm now going to speak about Connect a Vet program, developed by the Canton community, including area schools and the Canton Chamber of Commerce. These entities promote entrepreneurial opportunities for our highly motivated student veterans, offers internships and mentorships, resulting in acquisition of successful employment. This benefits the veteran, the family, the community, and lastly, our local economy. Over 50% of our local businesses have signed pledges supporting our Connect a Vet program.
Excuse me, I'm a beneficiary of the Connect Vet program as a student, a Marine veteran, and the president, treasurer of the Veterans Association on SUNY Camp. I'm looking forward to my internship in the spring and working with the town of Canton.
We are also developing a complementary program designed for military spouses. This program will address the challenges that military families face when transitioning from military life to civilian life.
Canton appreciates what its veterans have done to protect the values that we hold dear. But we must continue to fight and remain vigilant, because in our towns, in our community, in our country, and in the entire world, our world will never be a better place unless towns like Canton continue to fight educate, and equip our future generations with the skill sets they need to prosper in this ever-evolving world.
See, I told you there was a sergeant in there. Doesn't he look like a sergeant?
Looks like a sergeant.
So we have wondered, what is an all-America city? And we have decided it's a number of things. It is a city that cares. It's a city that is inclusive. It is a city that is committed to working together to solve problems. Now, Canton is all of those things, but most of all, I believe that we are a city that cares. We care about the environment, we care about our educational system, but frankly, we care the most about each other. And the Connective app and all of the other programs we do to serve our veterans is just an example of that. And I must tell you, personally, as a vet, I am pleased with what we do. And I want those veterans not just to come and go to school there. I want them to come to Canton and make it their home. So what is an all-America city?
Canton, New York!
As
We,
veterans,
veterans,
we are living
live
proof.
Thank you for letting us speak to you.
Canton, New York, what a great story that you shared with us this afternoon. And I know this group's going to want to ask some questions. Rudy, are you able to answer questions inside there?
I can always take
There we
this.
go. We'll get Curtis first.
I was fascinated by the reference in your North Country Symposium description about identifying strategic assets and identifying where you had leaks in capital flow. And you used an illustration of connecting locally grown food to institutional dining services. Curious is that list any longer? Have you identified other capital leaks that you could actually turn into strategic assets?
Yes, we in the North Country Symposium have actually looked at the issue of leaks from our economy across a number of different sectors, be it business, production, transportation, education, etc. In particular, a good example is energy. We in the North Country region lose approximately $290 million a year to energy consumption. That's money flowing right out of our economic bucket, if you will. So we want to plug those leaks. In the symposium, we came up with a plan to host a clean energy conference every year. That's happened twice now in Lake Placid. And we continue to look in various places to realize our renewable energy resources that we have in abundance in the North Country and turn that into an income stream as opposed to a leak from our community.
Did you have a question?
Hey, thank you all for being here. I guess my question has to do with, as we move on year to year, every 5 years, 10 years, what's the commitment from the university, both of the schools, to go back and take a look at what are the skills needed 5 years out into the future by the industry in and around Canton, and bringing and supplying students to graduate to fill in at those industries?
I think I can speak for SUNY Canton, where I was the president for 19 years. Every single degree program on the campus has an advisory board that meets annually to help the college keep the focus on having graduates who are employable. And that process actually goes on continuously, not just on a 5-year cycle or anything. And that commitment to continuous improvement has been there for years, and I think it will continue to be.
Thank you. Andy?
Well, my mayor's name is Rudy, and so I'm gonna have to get a picture of you.
We'll send you a picture.
Yeah, maybe on the back, turn around, and I was like, look here, Mayor. He could be watching us now, I don't know. If I'm so, just wave. Lots of interesting stories throughout, today, just presenting your story and in your application. Of course, all of us, all of our communities are planning and looking ahead. I'm interested in your Canton Community Action Plan. It was adopted, I believe, in 2011, so you're 2 years into it, and you had 5 different goals. How's it going?
It's going great. Actually, we renew our Canton Community Action Plan every 10 years. Joe was a part of that, what, 10 years ago?
18 years ago.
18 years ago. We bring a diverse group of people in and we create goals and objectives and timeline for that. And then we go to work to attack those particular issues. And frankly, we had to rewrite our Canton Community Action Plan, the most recent iteration of that, because we had pretty much nailed all of the things that were in the previous plan. So we not only set goals for ourselves, but we put wheels on the cart that can get us down the road. And so we're making great progress on that. Of course, the biggest battle right now is doing more with fewer resources coming from the state. 65% of our property is tax exempt. So we've got to be, it's because we have 2 universities, we have 1 million churches, and we have county government in our community. So we've got to come up with more creative ways to do things. We've got to plan in advance, and Canton has developed a reputation for knowing how to do that and getting out in front of the curve before we face really great challenges that we don't know how to manage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, question and maybe a comment. I'm always fascinated about concerning leadership and decision-making processes that go on in communities. And it seems like the local community is where the rubber hits the road. So I have a question. Did you ever consider breaking away from the state university system and basically managing the university yourselves?
Many times, but the millions of dollars they pour in makes it not very attractive. And actually, to be perfectly honest, the State University of New York is probably the finest university system in the world. And I don't ever mind standing up for the State University of New York.
Very good.
Beauty, you want a second chance? Okay, go for it.
You indicated, I think, that you had a revolving loan fund that you got from the Agriculture Department. And how far will that carry you? Do you have private funds now implementing on, coming in on top of that? Is it growing or what?
Yes, sir, it is growing. In fact, we had an initial grant of $95,000 from the USDA for their RBEG program, Rural Business Enterprise Grant Program. We used that to fund small businesses in Canton, and then all of the program income that is being returned through the repayment of loans, that is funding new businesses. So we have seen a number of new small businesses start up in Canton, and we've also expanded this for the town and the village to partner. They have a separate pot of money that they're bringing to the table. So we'll be able to fund even more small businesses.
What's the town and the village?
The town is the larger municipal entity, and the village is technically our main street.
Can I add one thing to that? That we also have a really outstanding small business development center that can work with people who have a viable business plan and perhaps use this as seed money, but they have an outstanding record of finding funding to support new businesses.
Yeah, that's what your document said, right?
Well, I want to say it again.
Canton, it's been a real privilege to have you all.
Thank you.
You Denver folks, does it make you want to go back home?
Yes.
Yes. Anyway,
Anytime.
this is the greatest. No one has we've not been in a community where they brought people that were from someplace else and supported their community. So whoever came up with that idea, that is great idea.
Thank you.
That was His Highness.
Well, His Highness did good, I will tell you that. And I know it means a lot to this hometown for you to come today, too. Are you a high school student? Is that what they said? Yes.
Yes, my name's John Pinckney. I'm a high school student at Canton. I'm part of the student. I was president of my senior class. I recently became an Eagle Scout, and I'm also a small business owner. I own my own lawn service. recently part of the Zoning Board of Appeals, which deals with zoning issues.
Amazing young man. For you elected leaders in New York or Canton, that you all could be in serious trouble. Because he's coming, and he's really impressive and good. And for you veterans and for you that are going on with your education, proud of you. Thank you for doing that. And, you know, I always love the communities that talk somebody in to being a mascot or something. I mean, we've seen them from shrimps to chickens to crabs to the whole bit. And I always say, these guys and girls deserve the extra credit. And being a sergeant, I'm sure you don't want your troop to see you now. But anyway, thank you for all of you doing that fact. And I will say that, you know, there's lots of things you can talk about and tell about, but you can always tell when a community cares about each other. And when you finished today and you all came up and put your arms around each other, that's not pretend or showing. That's absolutely heart and caring. And when you have that, you're going to be successful, and obviously you do. So thank you for sharing your story today from Canton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to break for a little while and